this guy, he used to walk around like he was immortal. And the thought never crosses your mind. Right. Then I wake up one morning and there's a message on my phone, Amolo has left us. And I remember I was dressed in orange because we had an activation for a by-election in Kajiado. So we divert the convoy, we go to Mama's house. Yeah? And there, you know, whatever happens. And we find ourselves in State House because the announcement has to be made by the head of state. By the way, I was very angry even just that morning because I didn't understand why it had to be the head of state to make that announcement. Because we sat in that house from, I think, the time that I arrived, waiting for Buru because he was in Kisumu. My understanding was that he, as the head of the Jaramogi family, would arrive and make that statement. But then, you know, state protocol takes over and we all are told to go to State House. I was just wondering, like, why, you know? And at State House, they say, oh, you know, because at the house, the Raila's lawyer had told us his will that he wanted to be buried within 72 hours. Yeah. And then at State House, they tell, oh, we need a delegation to go to Mumbai and come back with Mze's body. And I wasn't even on that list, by the way. But I think one of those CSs who came from ODM noticed that the list was very government heavy. It's like, but Sifuna is here. Let a passport yako patia sijui nani. You know, that's how I find myself on the flight to Mumbai. Okay. Yeah. So we go to Mumbai and actually it was one of the most difficult moments in my life. And that image can never leave my head because, you know, we found Mze's body on the air side. You know, they had already transferred him from where he was, and now the body was in the back of a truck, a canter, just waiting to be wrapped with that paper that they wrap it with, so that they could put it on the plane. You know, so the indignity, man. You know, like you can't believe this is Baba. You know, so while we are going through all these emotions, people are meeting somewhere to feel his position. Can you imagine that? Mzee had not even arrived in Kenyan airspace. Yeah. And they're already doing that. I wasn't present in that meeting. If I was present in that meeting, I would have told them that the constitution of ODM, which I brought a copy of, I walk around with it everywhere so that when clever journalists like Latvia want to challenge me on provisions of the ODM constitution, I can show them. It requires that you elect a party leader at a national delegates convention. Now, Raila had 3 deputies. And you see, some of these people, I have asked Ososi, do you people understand what the word deputy means? Like, when you offer yourself for that position, you should be prepared to be able to act in that position in the event that your boss is unavailable.
That's true.
So my expectation would have been that the 3 of them would have said, let Ososi act for the month of January, you act for the month of February, then you act for the month of March, and in March we call an NDC. Now, there is a way in which the emotional blackmail on members of the Central Committee, on members of what is it called, the National Executive Committee works, that now we are brought back and all of them, you know, we just told, okay, let's just go along, you know, we need, at least in these moments of grief, some level of stability and leadership, and, you know, he's an old man. And the initial pronouncements by Oburu were very encouraging. If you go back to the things that he was saying in the initial days, saying, oh, you know, this thing has just fallen on my lap, my job is just to steer the party through this difficult period and hand over the party to young people. His own words. He said it himself.
That's true.
He said it himself. So you must understand everything that happened in the context of that. That there was a very solid drive to be able to not necessarily stir the waters and to be able to allow time for us to be able to do these things. That does not mean that the constitutional responsibility to be elected at an NDC is ousted. And the reason why we were insisting on doing things properly, you know, one of the things why the Central Committee of ODM used to make decisions that would they would be readily accepted by the membership. There's a reason. It was because ODM that was chaired by Raila Odinga. He was the chair of that Committee.
Central Committee.
Yeah.
All other organs of the party are chaired by the chairperson. So meetings of the Central Committee will be chaired by Raila. And Raila had legitimacy. He had been to an NDC. He has been the presidential candidate of a party. So when you start hearing a different tone from Oburu, then it worries us. And you're saying, hey, boss, see, you go then get the legitimacy from members of the party. So then you can be able to make some of those critical decisions that you're making.
Just jumping in because before we take a break. So the leadership of the party meets and says, let's appoint Oburu as interim party leader.
Correct.
And because that was the communication.
Yes.
I remember Abdul Somad reading that at the airport and saying interim party leader.
Correct.
And the messaging from the interim party leader was, I'm a caretaker here for this. And then again, you met at the point now where you were chairing that meeting that endorsed that decision. So, and that's when now he came in and took in the oath and said, I will be.
Yeah, but you see the constitution of ODM, even I went through a similar process, that you are an interim official until elected by the National Delegates Convention. I was appointed in an interim position in 2018. It was not until 2021 when we went to the NDC that I was elected unopposed and unanimously as SG of ODM, you know? So these things, it is when we say, please do the right thing, it's not to say we want to remove you as party leader.
Okay.
You see, and the question you have asked is very interesting. When did he transform from interim to wakudumu wa milele? That's the question.
Has he?
According to him. But according to the constitution of ODM, the only time you become substantive is when you are elected at the NDC.
But as the custodian of the party's ideal, the Secretary General, right? You know what the party constitution says.
Yes.
You were there, you chaired that meeting that endorsed him as interim. And therefore you know this is the position. He is interim until an NDC is held.
Correct.
As far as I remember, there were conversations around when the NDC is going to be held. Right? There was no argument that there's going to be an NDC or not. So at what point did Edwin Sifuna, as Secretary General, start feeling like the interim party leader does not want an NDC that will elect him? Or start feeling that this one is usurping the powers of a substantive party leader? What made you feel that?
Now, first of all, our calls for clothing the party leader in legitimacy were misinterpreted as disrespect.
Okay.
You know, young people know exactly what I am saying. You know, these conversations we have with our grandfathers, they are very interesting. You say something and they think, oh, you, first of all, you are a child, sit down, you should not be saying those things. It is not disrespect.
You want to inherit me when I'm alive.
You need to guide people. You need to guide. In my position as SG, I should be able to offer free advice on my understanding of things. It is not to say that it is disrespectful. Number two, if you look at the gravity of the decisions that are being taken, my view is that some of those decisions can only be taken when you are clothed with that legitimacy. For instance, you want to tell members of ODM that you are beginning negotiations to form a coalition government with. But that is something that requires a mandate of the people. And that's what we are saying. There is no rush. Let's do things by the book and then you can be able to have the mandate and say, now I'm going. The reason why Raila used to do those things the way he used to do them is because he always went back to the people. Even doing something as innocuous as signing an MOU. Baba went around the country. Just, you know, sometimes we in ODM, there are things that we know. Sometimes Baba would want something. We know what he wants. But at least he used to pretend to consult. Just even if it's just for sure. Like you know, like I remember he came back from the first 3 consultations he did. He did, I think, Mombasa, then he did Kwale, then he did, I think it was Kilifi. You know, he came back, he told us, by the Sifuna, of all these meetings, the only people, he said the only people who were genuinely giving me proper advice, not proper advice, but saying what they truly feel about this thing were the people in Kwale. I can tell when people want to please me, there are people who don't want to offend me, there are people who are just saying, you know, Musisumbwe mzee. He used to be able to tell. But he used to do it. He used to do it. He said, come here, Nini. And I mean, one of the things that people will come to understand is that, you see, when the party leader, Raila, because of the legitimacy he had and the support of the people, in the heart of the people that he had, everything we used to do in ODM, including our rules, our constitution, was in order to facilitate him to be able to achieve what he wants to achieve. Now, we have to ask ourselves if any other leader in ODM has that level of
the gravitas.
Correct. Even Sifuna. I mean, you have to have the heart of the people before they can trust you and say, Sifuna it looks suspicious, but we trust Sifuna knows what he's doing.
It's a democracy and should be following the democratic processes.
Absolutely.
And in your constitution as well. We'll go on a short break, but when we come back, we'll also talk about the charges, or what we want to call them, against